Papers. Florence Spielman was here to talk us through the international front pages. Hello again to you,
Hello.
Flo. Lots of focus on that meeting yesterday between Angela Merkel, François Hollande, Matteo Renzi, the leaders of the three biggest countries of the EU, showing a united front in the wake of Brexit.
That's right. The meeting was very symbolic because it came almost exactly 2 months after the Brexit vote. It's a huge story today. Let's take a look at the front page of the Wall Street Journal. A tested Europe shows a united front. This very same photo is getting a lot of coverage today. It's on the front page of the Der Tagesspiegel, the German paper as well, that focuses on the role that Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, is playing in all this. She's leading the way, says Der Tagesspiegel, launching this European initiative, calling for a change of course. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of papers are saying that the EU is completely lost without Britain. There's a very interesting analysis piece in The Guardian today in their editorial that says that European leaders are at a loss when it comes to what's next. They're struggling to connect vision and reality, but they need to start getting convincing quite soon, according to The Guardian, or else Eurosceptics elsewhere in the EU are going to make a lot of gains, just like they did in Britain.
Indeed. Well, let's head back to the German press now in an article from the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung getting a lot of attention this morning.
Great pronunciation there, Hella, I must say. This is a very interesting article that's being picked up a lot in other papers. Let's take a look at the article. The title says, if you're German, start buying canned vegetables. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung got their hands on a document, a government document, called The Concept for Civil Defense. Now, this document has not been released yet, but in it, according to the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, the government, the German government, tells citizens to stockpile food and water in their homes in case of a terror attack or a major catastrophe. It's pretty scary stuff. In the document, for instance, Germans are encouraged to stock enough food for 10 days, enough water for 5 days. Now, papers are wondering what in the world is the deal with this document. It's going to be discussed by the cabinet tomorrow, and papers say that afterwards it's going to be presented to the public. I'll be sure to bring you any reactions after it's made public.
And some more canned goods as well. Maybe they know something we don't. Golly. Let's move on to other news now, Flo. Testy relations between Iran and Russia. Yes, yesterday a military alliance between Moscow and Tehran starting to show some signs of strain.
That's right. Those relations are getting a lot of attention all over the world. If we take a look at the front page of L'Orient Le Jour, that's a Lebanese paper, it says that there's turbulence in these relations between Russia and Iran. Yesterday, Iranian authorities say they were stopping, for the moment, Russian bombing missions to Syria that have been launched from Iranian air bases. It's a little bit complicated, but this alliance had just started, so what happened? Why did it come to a halt so quickly? Well, L'Orient Le Jour says the problem is that Moscow made this alliance very public. And there's another very interesting analysis piece in Al-Quds Al-Arabi, the pan-Arab paper based in London, that says that up until now, Iran has been very discreet about the military help that it's giving to Bashar al-Assad. In fact, conservatives in Iran are very nationalistic, and the constitution actually forbids any foreign soldiers on Iranian soil. So that's why Iran was so upset that Moscow made this alliance so visible. In fact, there's an interesting cartoon. This is in Al-Watan, the Saudi paper, where you can see this Iranian cleric with this Russian air jet on its head there. The Iranian cleric, it must be said, doesn't look so thrilled to have this plane on its head.
Indeed. Let's move on to the US now, and several papers stateside focusing on the role that minorities will play in the upcoming presidential election.
That's right. There's an interesting article in the Washington Post about this that focuses on what Republican hopeful Donald Trump, what he's up to. Now, speaking at a rally yesterday, he made a passionate pitch to African American and Hispanic voters. What do you have to lose? Give me a chance and I'll straighten things out. Now, in this speech, and the Washington Post points out that he was giving the speech before a vastly white crowd, he described African Americans and Hispanics as living in poverty in neighborhoods that are more dangerous than war zones. And critics were quick to accuse him of stereotyping.
Well, polls suggesting that Hillary Clinton has a giant advantage when it comes to African Americans and Hispanics. But the Wall Street Journal's focusing on a demographic rather. It's not often in the spotlight.
That's right. This is Asian Americans. Very interesting article analysis today that points out that Asian Americans, they're a group that don't get as much attention, but they actually have a real strategic advantage. They have overtaken Hispanics to become the fastest growing racial group in the nation. The statistics are really incredible. There are more than 9 million Asian Americans voting in the election this November. That's a 16% increase from 4 years ago. Now, the bad news for Republicans is that they tend to vote for Democrats. And this could make a difference not only in the presidential election that's coming up, but also in U.S. politics in general. They could become a real game changer in the years to come in U.S. politics.
And finally, Flo, will end with a story about the Olympics and one athlete whose future is uncertain.
That's right. This is Ethiopian runner Faisa Lesa, I'll get his name right. Now, he came in second in the marathon, and when he finished the race, you can see it in that photo, he held his arms up in an X shape over his head. That's a sign of protest used against the Ethiopian government. Now, he says he's actually scared about going home. Now, the government says that he's a hero, he'll be welcomed, but he's considering actually moving to another country.
Golly, something to keep an eye on. Thanks very much, France Villeminot, our press reviewer, taking us through the papers. Thanks also to Stephen Carroll, France 24's business editor. And I'm Hala Mohideen. Do stay with us here on France 24. Lots more still to come.